Course Design, Getting Started, Course Design Essentials from the Columbia University Center for Teaching and Learning. Welcome to this video series on course design. What you will learn here will help you design or redesign a course for your teaching context and mode of delivery. This video presents course design frameworks, factors that affect course design, and reflection questions to guide the design or redesign of a course. Let's begin by considering the common course design process. First, an instructor selects texts and places course content at the center of the course. Then they think about the lectures and activities they will need to deliver. And since grades need to be assigned, add in the traditional assessment trifecta, a midterm, a paper, and a final exam. This process is so common that it often remains unquestioned, yet it can lead to two problematic designs. Wiggins and McTighe call these the twin sins of traditional design. Both focus on teaching, not on learning. Coverage-oriented design involves instructors lecturing, covering topics, or going chapter by chapter in a textbook, and moving on regardless of whether students understand and are able to apply what was presented. In activity-oriented design, or hands-on without being minds-on, students engage in activities and learning experiences which may be fun and interesting, however the learning purpose is unclear. In neither case do students know the what and why of their learning. Students follow along and hopefully the learning will happen. Why do we design courses the way that we do? This is an opportunity for us to question our practices and ask ourselves why we include the elements that we do in our courses. Whether a text, an activity, or assignment, what learnings are we seeking by having students read, do, demonstrate their learning? Do the students know why we are asking them to do these things? Too many teachers focus on the teaching and not on the learning. What if we designed with learning and our learners in mind? What would planning for learning look like? The focus would be on the output, not just the inputs, such as course content, readings, lectures, activities. This involves thinking about what students will leave the course with regardless of the course materials and activities used, which ultimately should enable the desired results. This brings us to backward design as a framework. Let's design with the end in mind. As we think more purposefully about course design, we focus on student learning, the desired outcomes, and plan assessments, learning experiences, and instruction that align. This framework encourages intentionality for instructors and lends itself to transparency, which can help motivate students and get their buy-in. Wiggins and McTighe outline a three-stage approach to planning backward. Stage 1, identify desired results. Stage 2, determine acceptable evidence. Stage 3, plan learning experiences and instruction. Next, we will explore each of these stages in more depth. Stage 1, identify desired results. In this stage, instructors clarify priorities by articulating learning objectives or outcomes for a course. Questions to guide Stage 1 include, what should students know, understand, and be able to do? What content is worthy of understanding? What enduring understandings are desired? Stage 2, determine acceptable evidence. With learning objectives articulated, instructors should think about what evidence will demonstrate that students have achieved the desired outcomes. In Stage 2, instructors determine the assessment plan. Instructors consider a variety of assessment methods for gathering evidence, with assessment being more than just a means for generating grades. Questions to guide Stage 2 include, how will you know students achieved the desired results? What assessment tasks and evidence will guide instruction? What criteria will be used to evaluate student performance? What opportunities will students have to be involved in assessment, whether choice of assessment, self-assessment, peer review, or contributions to rubrics? Stage 3, plan learning experiences and instruction. With the assessment plan in place, instructors can plan the learning experiences and the instruction that will be needed for students to achieve the desired results. Questions to guide Stage 3 include, what enabling knowledge, facts, concepts, principles, and skills will students need in order to perform effectively and achieve desired results? What activities will equip students with the needed knowledge and skills? What will need to be taught, and how should it best be taught given the learning objectives? What materials and resources are best suited to accomplish these goals? These are the three stages of backward design. Building on Wiggins and McTighe's Understanding by Design framework, heavily adopted in K-12, Fink's integrated approach to designing college courses is a framework intended for higher education. Fink's framework includes all of the stages of backward design, articulating learning objectives, determining assessments, planning learning activities and instruction. However, he adds an additional step for instructors to size up the situation before embarking on the stages. That is, to consider the situational factors that will impact the course design. In this initial step, instructors reflect on the teaching and learning context, the nature of their subject, the characteristics of their learners, and the characteristics of themselves, the instructor. For the teaching and learning context, consider how many students will be in the course level, duration, and frequency of class sessions, course delivery, whether in-person, hybrid, or online, and elements of the learning environment, whether physical classroom space or online learning environment. Next, consider the characteristics of your learners. Questions to guide reflection here include: who are your learners? What are their situations? What prior knowledge and experiences relevant to the course have students had? What are their goals and expectations of the course? In addition to knowing who our students are, it is important to consider how learning works. This can inform the structure of the course, what we teach, how we teach it, and what we ask students to do. Of the 7 principles outlined in Ambrose et al.'s How Learning Works, 7 research-based principles for smart teaching, one should design with students' prior knowledge in mind, creating an organizational structure that motivates students to learn and supports them in the process. Highlighted by the principles: students' prior knowledge can help or hinder learning, how students organize knowledge influences how they learn and apply what they know, and students' motivation determines, directs, and sustains what they do to learn. Finally, reflect on your characteristics and experiences as an instructor. What beliefs and values do you have about teaching and learning? What experiences do you have teaching this or a similar course in the given format? What are your teaching strengths and weaknesses? Your turn. What situational factors will affect the design of your course? Let's recap. In this video, we explored frameworks and factors affecting course design and posed questions for reflection to move beyond the common course design process toward a more intentional, learner-centered, and integrated course design. As you get started, consider the situational factors for your course. Articulate the learning objectives or outcomes. Develop a process for ongoing assessment throughout a course. Then, identify course materials, plan for instruction, and determine what activities and experiences students will engage in to prepare for the assessments and achieve the learning objectives. Ultimately, all course elements will align with the learning objectives. This concludes Course Design Getting Started. Please view the other videos to explore each stage of course design in more detail. For course design or redesign assistance and other teaching and learning support, please contact the CTL at columbiactl@columbia.edu.